Hello my lovely owls, it is Wednesday the 6th of January and this is chapter 2 of our story, which was, chapter 2 is called Ritzy City. Tiga slid down the pipe at a slug's pace. It was not magical. She had imagined if anything was going to happen, it would be slick, something with a little whoosh. Instead, it was more of a smoosh. With her cheeks squashed against the sides of the pipe, she squeaked her way very slowly to somewhere else. That somewhere else was Ritzy City, because although Fran may have been a bit mad, she was no liar. Tiga slipped out of the pipe, fell through a layer of thick black clouds and let out a yelp as she landed with a thud on the roof of a small market stall. "An impressive landing," Fran shouted as Tiga peeled her face off the soft canvas roofing. "No broken bones or death. Well done." Tiga blinked as her eyes shifted from the fairy flying in front of her face to what lay beyond. For as far as she could see, everything was black and grey. There wasn't a drop of colour in the place. Even Fran's dress had changed from purple to a deep dark grey. But it wasn't all black and grey in a horrible way, like the shed at night. It was beautiful. Black fluffy clouds with soft grey edges hung in the sky. The pavements were lined with smart black market stalls that stretched as far as Tiga could see. Behind the stalls towered buildings built in shiny black stone that went up and disappeared into the clouds. From those clouds came trickles of water. But it wasn't rain. Tiga imagined it might be what rain looked like if someone forgot to turn it off properly. She jumped down off the stall roof and peered out from behind it. Further down the road, huge black vases held delicate grey flowers, and little pruned shrubs sat proudly outside the gleaming black doors of townhouses, trimmed with black polished railings. And all along the street, women marched about in the most magnificent dresses of every possible shape and fabric: silk, chiffon, velvet, long, short, puffy, and every woman in every dress wore the same wide-brimmed black hat. Tiga just stood there with a huge dozy grin slapped on her face. Ritzy City was the most incredible city she had ever seen. "Oh dear," said Fran, as a woman pushing a sparkly black cannon pulled up next to them. "Tiga, you might just want to cover your ear—" "Newsflash!" the woman bellowed as the cannon spun to face the sky, and bang! Tiga dived to the ground. When she looked up, hundreds of bits of paper were slowly floating back down to earth. "Is that—" she began. "It's the Ritzy City Post, our daily newspaper," Fran said as a copy landed on Tiga's head. "Witch Wars begins tomorrow" was stamped on the front page. Tiga raised the paper in the air. "What's Witch Wars? Where exactly are we? And why is that woman allowed to wander around town firing a cannon?" Fran opened her mouth to answer, but the witch manning the stool on which Tiga had fallen interrupted them. "Hello, I'm Mavis. Jam?" Tiga shyly shook her head. "But witches love jam," said Fran. "They can't get enough of it." "That's why all these stalls sell jam," said Mavis. "Apart from that one at the end, it sells cats and jam." Tiga got to her feet and dusted herself off. "I'm not a witch, Fran. I don't care if my name says so." "Everyone's a witch," said Mavis, organising her jam jars in a neat row. Well, everyone here at least. Tiga watched the women striding past her. They didn't look anything like witches. "The hats are wrong for a start," she thought aloud. "Why aren't they pointy? The tops are completely flat and not witch-like at all." "Aha," said Fran, twirling in the air. "That means you've only seen a witch up there above the pipes in your world. When a witch travels up there, although Frog knows why they'd want to, they're sucked up the pipes, you see. It destroys the hat, making it all pointy, and some witches get horrible warts on their faces from all the grime. It depends on the condition of the pipe they travel in. Some knock their noses and it makes them crooked. Their dresses become all torn and tattered. Pipe travel is a horrible business." Mavis handed Tiga a tissue. "You've not done too badly, only a bit of slime on your cheeks." Tiga grabbed the tissue and started madly rubbing her face. I thought you were going to be one of those ones whose nose goes all warty, Fran chuckled. What about the water? Tiga asked. It's not rain, is it? No, said Fran, watching trickles fall from the dark clouds. It comes from houses where you'll find a witch, up there in the world above the pipes. Some of them don't even know they're witches, she added, with an eyebrow raised. Tiga sighed. It was becoming very clear that there was no arguing with Fran. Right, we'd best be off or we'll be late, Fran said, clicking her fingers in Tiga's face, and with that they waved goodbye to Mavis and her jam and made their way along the bustling city street. So, this is Ritzy Avenue, Fran explained, while perched on Tiga's shoulder. It's the main shopping street. Over here we have cakes, pies, and that's about it really, the bakers. They make beautiful cakes and pies, and that's it really, which is a special type of tart, only available in Ritzy City. Very delicious. Tiga pressed her hands up against the window and stared open-mouthed at the cakes, but just beyond them, further into the shop, was a very peculiar scene. Inside, all the witches were staring, open-mouthed, back at her. Oh, and over there, Fran said with a squeak of excitement as she pulled on Tiga's hair, is Bru's designer clothes shop. I love it. They make special dresses for me because I'm quite fabulous and famous, and also abnormally small. Mrs. Bru is Ritzy City's best fashion designer, but you almost never see her. She spends most of her time in that studio up there. Fran nodded towards a large round window at the very top of Bru's. Tiga was almost certain she saw the shadow of someone walk past it. Then a chattering line of ladies burst out of the door and trotted down the street, carrying black bags stamped with a huge swirly bee. Cool, Tiga said, heading towards the door. No time for clothes shopping, Fran said, zooming on ahead. Tiga reluctantly scuttled after her. She didn't want to lose the only person she knew in Ritzy City. Fran screeched to a halt outside the most beautiful townhouse Tiga had ever seen, and she had seen 3 townhouses. This is Linden House, said Fran. Tiga felt small and insignificant next to the huge building. On it there was a gigantic sign covered in lights that read Witch Wars, and below it hung 9 huge flags. On them were 9 huge faces. Tiga didn't recognise any of them, apart from the last one. It was her. And that's the end of chapter 2, owls. So tomorrow I will be posting chapter 3, which is called Peggy Pigwiggle, which sounds interesting. Sounds like a funny name. Hope you enjoyed chapter 2, and I will see you tomorrow for chapter 3. Bye!